Let's talk about where the quadratic equation, or the quadratic formula, comes from. It actually comes from somewhere that's really familiar. It comes from completing the square on the general case of a quadratic equation. So it didn't just like spring up from the ground and be like, huh, I'm a quadratic formula and I'm here to solve all your quadratic problems. No, we kind of just created it as a tool by carrying the general case of a quadratic equation through completing the square. So remember, the general case of a quadratic equation is, my writing tool, it's a x squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So to complete the square on that, we want to get it into a form x plus b over 2a squared. We want to get this term into it. So remember, since it's got an a in front of here, we have to multiply this thing by a. And let's see what happens when we multiply that out. A times x plus b over 2a squared is a times x plus, I'll just do it the long way, b over 2ax plus b over 2ax plus b squared over 4a squared. So we'll combine that a little bit more. Ax plus 2b over 2a x plus b squared over 4a squared. To simplify it a little bit more, ax plus, well, there should be a squared on these, shouldn't there? B over a x, because the 2's cancel out, plus b squared over 4a squared, and then we can multiply through ax squared plus bx, because the a cancels there, plus b squared over 4a. So we've got everything good here, ax squared plus bx, that matches up with what we wanted, but we just need to subtract off this and add on the c. So minus our b squared over 4a plus c equals 0. So now let's go ahead and add this term and subtract to the other side. So we get a times x plus b over 2a squared equals b squared over 4a minus c. Let's divide by a and get x plus or minus, or no, x plus b over 2a squared equals b squared over 4a squared minus, actually, there's an intermediate step. Why don't we combine this into b squared minus 4ac over 4a. Because c is equivalent to 4ac over 4a. The 4a's would cancel out and you just get c. Then you divide by a and you get b squared minus 4ac over 2a squared. Then we can take plus or minus square root, get x plus b over 2a plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over, how did this become a 2? That should really be a 4. Over 4a squared equals, well, the bottom just simplifies to 2a, because square root of 4 is 2, square root of a squared is a. And we've got square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And then we can just subtract x equals negative b over 2a. Oh, running out of room. Negative b over 2a plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. And that equals, I'm going to make some more room over here, negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So that's the quadratic formula. That's what we get when we carry completing the square all the way through until the end in the general case, keeping track of all our variable names and such.